when installing underground conduit for a future garage, especially when it's going under a patio. Several factors need consideration. Firstly, the depth of the conduit under the cement must be at least 18 inches, which is about 45 centimeters. Secondly, it is highly recommended to use a layer of sand or gravel, approximately 1 to 2 inches thick, for drainage beneath the conduit. Thirdly, an inspection by a qualified electrician before pouring the cement is strongly advised. The purpose of this inspection is to ensure the conduit is installed correctly, complies with all relevant code requirements, and hasn't been damaged during the installation process. Now let's talk about the installation steps. 1. Excavate the trench. Dig a trench that is at least 18 inches deep and wide enough to accommodate the conduit along with a layer of sand or gravel. 2. Install the sand or gravel. Fill the bottom of the trench with a 1 to 2 inch layer of sand or gravel to promote drainage. 3. Lay the conduit. Place the conduit in the trench directly on top of the prepared sand or gravel bed. 4. Cover the conduit. Fill the trench with additional sand or gravel, leaving approximately 6 inches or 15 centimeters of space from the top of the trench. 5. Arrange for an inspection of the conduit. Call a licensed electrician to inspect the conduit to confirm it's properly installed and meets all applicable standards. 6. Backfill the trench. Fill the remaining space in the trench with soil or the concrete mix for the patio. There are also additional considerations. It is recommended to use PVC conduit specifically designed for underground installations. Try to run the conduit in straight lines as much as possible to simplify future wiring and maintenance. Avoid creating any sharp bends or kinks in the conduit during installation, as these can make pulling wires difficult or damage the conduit. And remember to label the conduit clearly for easy identification in the future, especially if multiple conduits are running in the same area. Using the proper type of conduit is also important. PVC conduit is suitable for direct burial. Other types, like rigid metal conduit or RMC, may also be used, but might require additional corrosion protection depending on local codes and soil conditions. Ensure all conduit connections are properly sealed to prevent water and debris from entering the system. Use appropriate conduit fittings and PVC cement for a watertight seal. When running conduit under a concrete slab, consider the weight and potential movement of the slab. Make sure the conduit is adequately protected from crushing or shifting. This might involve using a thicker walled conduit or providing additional support. Always consult with local electrical codes and regulations, as they can vary depending on your location. A licensed electrician can provide guidance on complying with these codes and ensuring a safe and compliant installation. Consider future needs when planning the conduit run. It is often easier to install a larger diameter conduit than might be immediately necessary to accommodate future wiring upgrades or additions. When backfilling the trench, compact the soil or concrete mix in layers to prevent settling and ensure the conduit remains properly supported. Before pouring concrete, double-check the conduit's position and alignment to make sure it is where you want it to be. It's much easier to make adjustments before the concrete is poured. Consider using tracer wire alongside the conduit. Tracer wire is a specialized wire that allows you to locate the underground conduit in the future using a metal detector. This can be extremely helpful if you need to dig near the conduit or make repairs. Be aware of any other underground utilities in the area, such as gas lines, water lines, or sewer lines. Contact your local utility companies to locate these utilities before you start digging. Maintaining proper separation between the conduit and other utilities is essential for safety. When connecting the conduit to a building or structure, use appropriate fittings and connectors to ensure a secure and watertight connection. Seal any openings around the conduit to prevent water or pests from entering the building. If you are unfamiliar with electrical work or unsure about any aspect of the installation, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and improper installation can lead to fires, shocks, or other hazards. It is crucial to take the necessary precautions and follow all safety guidelines. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses, gloves, and sturdy work shoes. Use the right tools for the job and make sure they are in good working condition. Always turn off the power to any circuits you are working on and verify that the power is off before touching any wires or electrical components. Following these guidelines will help ensure that your underground conduit installation is safe, compliant, and reliable. Remember to prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when needed. It is important to use the correct type of wire for underground installations. Underground feeder or off cable is specifically designed for direct burial applications. It is moisture resistant and can withstand the harsh conditions of being buried underground. The size of the wire will depend on the electrical load it will be carrying. Consult the National Electrical Code, or NEC, Table 310.15b16 for the allowable ampacities of insulated conductors rated up to and including 2000 volts, 60 degrees Celsius through 90 degrees Celsius. It is important to choose a wire size that can safely handle the anticipated load. The NEC provides guidelines for calculating the load and determining the appropriate wire size. When splicing wires in the conduit, use waterproof connectors specifically designed for underground use. These connectors will prevent moisture from entering the splice and causing corrosion or electrical problems. Stagger the splices so that they are not all located in the same area. This will reduce the risk of a short circuit. Secure the wires inside the conduit using cable ties or other appropriate fasteners. This will prevent the wires from moving around and potentially getting damaged. Leave enough slack in the wires at each end of the conduit to allow for easy connections to electrical boxes or equipment. Consider installing a pull box at each end of the conduit run to make it easier to pull the wires through. A pull box is a small enclosure that provides access to the conduit and allows you to pull the wires in shorter sections. This is especially helpful for long conduit runs or runs with multiple bends. Backfilling the trench with clean fill material is important to protect the conduit and wires from damage. Remove any rocks or debris that could puncture the conduit or damage the wires. Compact the fill material in layers to ensure that it is properly compacted and will not settle over time. Mark the location of the underground conduit with warning tape or other appropriate markers. This will help prevent accidental damage to the conduit in the future. Keep a record of the conduit installation, including the location of the conduit, the type of conduit used, the size of the wires, and any other relevant information. This record will be helpful for future maintenance or repairs. Follow all local electrical codes and regulations when installing underground conduit. These codes and regulations are designed to ensure the safety of electrical installations. If you are not familiar with electrical codes and regulations, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Electrical work can be dangerous, and improper installation can lead to fires, shocks, or other hazards. It is important to take the necessary precautions and follow all safety guidelines. Always turn off the power to any circuits you are working on and verify that the power is off before touching any wires or electrical components. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses, gloves, and sturdy work shoes. Use the right tools for the job and make sure they are in good working condition. If you are unsure about any aspect of the installation, consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide guidance and ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your underground conduit installation is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember to prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when needed. Also consider using a ground wire. A ground wire provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to protect against electrical shock. The size of the ground wire will depend on the size of the circuit conductors. Consult the NEC for the appropriate size ground wire. Connect the ground wire to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or a metal water pipe. The grounding electrode should be buried in the ground and provide a good connection to the earth. The ground wire should be continuous and unbroken. Do not splice the ground wire. If you need to extend the ground wire, use a crimp connector or other approved connector. Protect the ground wire from damage. If the ground wire is damaged, it may not be able to provide a path for fault current to flow back to the source. This could increase the risk of electrical shock. Test the grounding system to ensure that it is working properly. A qualified electrician can test the grounding system using a ground resistance meter. If the grounding system is not working properly, it should be repaired or replaced. Keeping your electrical system grounded is important for safety. A properly grounded electrical system can help to protect against electrical shock and prevent fires. If you have any questions about grounding your electrical system, consult with a qualified electrician. Remember to always disconnect power to any circuit before working on it. Use appropriate safety gear, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses. Consult the National Electrical Code and local regulations for specific requirements in your area. It's advisable to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure proper and safe installation. Always prioritize safety and adhere to electrical codes and regulations.